What up? It's at St. Lauren 57. Sober, celibate, saved, and exhausted. It's been a minute, I think, since I made a video. At least I feel like it has. Haven't been able to make them as often because I've been busy. And I'm just, like, the one thing I try to also talk about, besides maintaining a positive mindset, is I got to talk about when I'm struggling too. Because something I learned in my DV class, from our new facilitator is like, when you can feel it, you can heal it, And also something I learned about being in recovery and taking care of myself, and part of nurturing myself, and part of preventing me from getting in my own way is communicating about my struggles, and I have a support system to where I don't have to feel like it's a burden when I communicate about something that's bothering me. I don't have to feel like I'm complaining about when something I'm going through. I don't have to feel like I'm alone. I don't have to feel like there's no one I can talk to about it. I'm really grateful for that I have such a very trustworthy, compassionate, and caring and kind support system now. It's very important to me because something that I've been through a lot in my life. I've done a lot of things. I've made choices that had consequences, or just a series of events that come that bring on barriers and trials and tribulations and those kinds of things, right? But they help me. The one thing is I've always been somebody who, I wasn't very good at taking suggestions when I was younger. It's like I was obedient to a certain extent, but I also didn't take suggestions very well from people because if I'm raising myself, right, or if I'm seeing that your walk doesn't match your talk, I absolutely can't do that. And I'm also one of those people, I have to learn on my own. And if I'm not allowed to be myself, or if I'm not allowed to venture and figure it out for myself, that's going to really put a halt in my connection with people. And that's going to make me also, we're only as sick as our secrets. I will go into hiding and I will do whatever it is I feel like, I need to do, so that I can, either get whatever research I need to get that experience, to know either what not to do or what to do or what's okay, what's not okay, or whatever it is I need to do to figure myself out. That's how I pretty much primarily live my life and stuff. And so, today it's so crazy, honestly. This week has been very heavy. I've been productive, right? I have my Bible study on Mondays. Tuesdays, I have my step study. Wednesday, I have my AA meeting. Thursdays, I have my domestic violence class. And today's Friday, where I typically would go to celebrate recovery, but I was asked to chair an all-women's AA meeting today. And, in recovery, when you're asked to be of service, you be of service. And I was more than happy to do that anyway. I'm very passionate about sharing my experience, strength, and hope, because literally, if I didn't have the community of people that I have, I would just feel like I couldn't relate to anything, and I would feel like I wouldn't be getting anything out of it. And then I also wouldn't be able to heal knowing that I'm not the only one who's ever done this or done that or had that done to them or been through that experience or suffered or, overcame or whatever it is, right? And so it's crazy, just because this week has been tough. I've been having to really motivate myself, and I've been stuck on some poetry lately, which is actually, I really want my creative outlet back, but it's really difficult because I feel like I'm not overwhelmed, but there are so many things and tasks and it's a waiting game. And I'm not just sitting waiting stagnant. Like, I'm sitting and I'm doing things. I'm being proactive, in my life to get me where I want to be, right? And to help create that momentum so that I can manifest all these things and accomplish all these things and, just get back up on my feet and whatnot. But, there are days where just, like, my anxiety over the, like, what ifs or, just sometimes just, and that's where I really have to pray more and lean on God and things like that. But the one thing is, I've been looking at, like, a lot of poetry lately, and it's been helping me, like, relate to, like, just different emotions I'm going through, different things I'm feeling and stuff like that. And it does make me feel inspired to, like, most definitely I should be journaling anyway on a daily basis. It's really important. And you know what? Something I really want to do besides just my own creative writing, because I used to write songs and poetry when I was younger. I was a huge diary person. Like, I always kept a journal growing up. I always did. And I would always write songs and poetry, and I haven't done that in a very long time. But I felt very inspired, and I really want to be able to tap into my creative outlet. I haven't, like, when I see my daughter, I get to color and stuff like that. But it's just very hard because they're, like, I feel like previously when I was able to get back into, like, my creative outlet, like, it's kind of like that poem had said about, like, when I am loved, who I am when I am loved, it's like I am absolutely at my best. Like, just that feeling of completeness, and then who I get to be when I'm loved and in love, and I feel like I get to be my whole total complete self. And there are so many different parts of me that I hadn't got to tap into for many years, just being out, in and out, and, like, having kids, and just on that work grind and raising kids and failing relationships, whatever, right? Distracted by that mess. I hadn't had the opportunity to tap into my creative outlet. And so, that's something I really feel would be productive to me, but also I really kind of, like, I really would love to be able to leave something behind. Like, there's things I would love for my children to be able to have, especially both of my children are pretty creative, especially my daughter, but they're both very, I know they carry a lot of parts that come from me with them. And something I thought would be really cool is for me to start keeping track, like, writing down my life, writing down my feelings, writing down my experiences, and I just thought that would be something that would be really cool for my kids to be able to have one day when they're older, you know what I'm saying? And just to maybe even put, like, some sort of, like, even maybe to create, like, some sort of book from, like, my life. I would love to write a book. Can I sit there long enough to write a book? I don't know. I have so much ADHD. What's crazy is typing, even though I'm, like, computer savvy as fuck, like, there's nothing with technology I absolutely cannot do. Like, I'm absolutely, like, proficient in that, you know what I'm saying? I have very advanced skills when it comes to that, but there's nothing like actually writing. So I did get a journal today from, like, Family Services, because they used to do our journaling class, so I knew I could probably get a journal from them. So I don't want to just say I want to start it. I want to start it. But I was thinking, like, how cool would that be, that maybe that, along with me being able to get out in the community and my, this YouTube channel and those kind of things, to be able to get out, have it go somewhere. Like, it would be really cool to be able to publish something. And so that was just a thought I was having, right? Because obviously I always have great ideas. It's just a matter of one day at a time, one task at a time, and not overwhelming myself with all these great ideas and then getting stuck. Because that's also what happens with my ADHD too. But anyways, so yeah, yeah, just lots of, like, that's the one thing too that sucks is like I can multitask. I can do a lot of things at once, but then there's like when you just don't have the answers. And sometimes, like, if I'm going to be real, things aren't emotionally great all the time. Like, well, I can have, and I'm very grateful for where I'm at. I'm very blessed for sobriety. I'm very blessed for my celibacy. I'm very blessed for my community in church. I'm very blessed for my community of women here. But at the end of the day, like, things still come up and they still can sting. And, I still have barriers to, getting back up on my feet. Especially, like, and I'm not alone. Like, I'm very blessed that I'm not alone. If I need help, I can ask for help, and you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I just, like, I'm really rebuilding with God, but by myself. Like, there's lots of blessings. I'm sure there will be more blessings, and not taking any credit from God or anything like that, but it gets really hard always being strong. It gets really hard. Like, I was watching this video earlier, and this guy was talking about, like, I don't know why you're worrying. Like, you always figure it out. Like, no matter what happens, you always figure it out. And that's the thing, is like, yes, I do always figure it out. And yes, I always get back up on my feet. And yes, I'm strong. And yes, I'm resilient. But, oh my God. And then obviously, surrendering is super important. But it gets really tough being that strong. Like, it gets really tough being resilient. It gets really tough, like, I can imagine it's like maybe how kids feel when they move to a new school and they feel like they don't have anybody. Or maybe if I were just to uproot myself and completely move to somewhere else and not have anybody. And I have people, I have support, and I have this. But at the same time, it's like, shoot, like, if this, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm doing the work, and I have lots of good resources, and I have lots of support. But it is still, like, scary. You know what I'm saying? It just, like, because it's so many things that I have to put back together. So, and it's not so much the time, it's, I guess, the uncertainty. You know what I'm saying? And I just want to get moving. And there are times where, of course, I think about, like, because people have a hard time being honest. They don't want people to know, like, I'm not going to be on this platform and putting on a fucking mask. Like, I'm still human. I still have feelings. And sometimes I'm still like, oh, man, I wish I could just give up. Like, I wish I could just give up and run away and just disappear. Because even if it's not the right way, the wrong way, or how I would like it, or how it should be, or how I want it to be, you know what I'm saying? And even if it might not produce the results that are healthy or unhealthy, at the end of the day, everyone else is still taken care of. And they're all not alone. So I don't have to, like, worry. I could uproot and run away, right? Like, that's when I get really anxious, and when I get, like, when I have that moment of, like, oh my God, I just want this to be over. Like, because it's really hard sometimes. Some days it is really difficult to, and really it's only that difficult when the momentum starts to slow down and the barriers start to come up, and I have to kind of, like, okay, figure it out again. Okay, get back up and figure it out again. Okay, get back up and figure it out again. And I mean, I could do that. God has made me so resilient. And I believe in myself so much that... Hello. You're welcome. But, you know, the thing is like, that's the honest God truth. It's like, and that's where it's like, I have to learn to really rely on prayer. I need to really talk about these things, because these are real feelings when barriers come up. And it's like, okay, Lauren, what do we do now? And at the end of the day, it's like, that's a spiritual warfare when you got to fight against that negative talk in your head, like, where it's like, just run away. You know how many people just run away and uproot themselves? And I'm sure, I mean, life goes on whether you're there or not. And I've already experienced that life goes on whether I'm in people's lives or not. Their life carries on. Would it be better or worse if I was or wasn't there? I don't freaking know, because I'm not there. So how could I even know? You know what I'm saying? But that's not the solution. The solution is not isolating. The solution is not running away. The solution is just to hold on and pray and talk about the tough times and power through it and overcome it. You know what I'm saying? And so, like, tonight it was crazy because, so like I was saying, I went to go chair that AA meeting, right? And so, as I'm waiting for the Uber, I'm waiting for a couple of my sisters here to meet me, you know, to go. The Uber pulls up, and I'm looking at my phone, I see the name, and I'm like, man, why does that name sound familiar? And the guy in the picture looks kind of familiar. And then he picks us up, and then he's like, he's like pointing at me like, oh my God. And then I hear him say my name, and I'm just like, oh my gosh. So it's like one of my brothers in a different fellowship of recovery, right? And it's just so crazy that that he would be the one, because I see this man like almost every Saturday, right? And so it'd be crazy that he would be the one to pick us up, to take me and my sisters to a meeting of recovery, and for me to chair this meeting of recovery. And so it was very cool. And he even, like, after he drops off, he's like, oh, let me just give you a hug. And so it was super cool. Like, he's such a super, like, you know, and that's the one thing that in these moments when I get, like, when I have that negative self-talk, I mean, I had spent a lot of my life with this negative self-talk. I spent a lot of my life destroying my life and separating myself from my mind, body, and soul, because I was chasing my own worthiness, you know, and that's, at the end of the day, that's what it was. So when you spend the majority of your life chasing your worthiness, not knowing that it's something that you already attain, you know, it's very difficult, especially like just when, you know, when things just aren't back to where you would like them to be. And there's something that one of my sisters always says. She's like, I'm not where I want to be, but I'm grateful I'm not where I was. And it's true. It's true. I guess it's a blessing that I'm pretty good at, like, compartmentalizing feelings. I'm good at compartmentalizing, like, myself. Like, I can really cut myself off from people. I can, like, really go through things without anybody. Like, I can go places by myself and start over and make it. Like, I can be resilient enough to do that, to not, like, I'm not a codependent person, that's for sure. And so I'm grateful for that, because it's allowed me to not dwell on who's not here or who should be here, you know, or why this, why that, right? So yeah, it was really good. It was a very small meeting. It's different because every recovery group has its own kind of guidelines and traditions of sharing and speaker meetings and things like that. So I got really positive feedback. You know, it was even able to bring some emotion out of people. So that's important, because that means that I'm healing people, because if they can feel it, they can heal through it. So I was very grateful for that. But you know, my main point of making this video tonight is because, like, this week has been really heavy, and and that's the thing is I have to share it because some people might see some things and they're like, oh, she's fine. She's doing it great. And I am doing great. And for the most part, I'm fine. But it's okay to not be okay. Like, and that's when you're healthier and you're in recovery and you have a safety plan and you realize, and through therapy and things, you realize like what you need to do, like when you're having those moments of fatal peril, like what you need to do when you start recognizing that you're isolating or sleeping too much, or like you're eating when you're bored and all those kinds of things. So it's important to share. Like, for example, I had like a little bit of like a health scare a few weeks ago, and I immediately made a change. I have significantly changed my consumption of food, period. But it's become like, I mean, I wish that this is something that would have happened when I first got here, right? Not fucking 50 pounds later. But that's what happens when I get depressed. That's what happens when, I mean, that's the next best thing, especially when I'm alone, depressed. And that's, I mean, there's just so many different things that, like, there's so many different, like, unhealthy ways of coping that I have when it comes to, like, food. Because then I start doing this thing where, like, you know, there's that look good, feel good, right? But I start doing this thing where it's like, I don't fucking care. Like, I don't care what I'm wearing. I don't care what I look like. I don't want anybody to fucking talk to me anyway. So, like, a little more disgusting I am, the better. And that's, like, so unhealthy because that's not fucking good, right? There's a difference between being humble and not putting, like, your worth into, like, what your outer appearance is, right? Like, into materialistic things. There will be a day and a time and a place for that, but you know, that's not in my pocketbook right now. That's something I wake up and I'm like, oh, I can't wait to put on fucking makeup and do my hair. I just want to get up, put something comfortable on, do whatever it is I have to do. And I mean, I don't really care about anything else. I spent too much time worrying about those things, you know? And so, yeah, it's been, a long week. But like I said, I share these things because I think it's important for people to know that, and people get scared when you're in recovery, especially if you have substance use in your life, right? Everyone starts freaking out if you're not okay, and they're like, oh God, this person's gonna go and, you know, whatever, or they're gonna, you know, and it's just like, whether it's a craving or whether it's an unhealthy behavior or an unhealthy thought process, it takes time, and we are forever in recovery. You know what I'm saying? Because my brain chemistry is never going to permanently change. I have to implement so many different things in order to heal myself and to be able to combat that spiritual warfare that will always be there. But I was to be able to combat, like, those core beliefs that are literally how my brain was formed from infancy. You know, whatever I saw, whatever it made me feel, and then whatever came after that, because that's how that works. And that's why, you know, as you get older and you start doing certain things and you start creating habits, because these habits protect feelings, or these habits make you numb feelings, whatever it is, these habits come into play as a coping mechanism for unhealthy circumstances, right? Because there are even subconscious feelings, like I might even see something that starts making me feel uncomfortable, and I won't know exactly why it makes me feel uncomfortable, but it's a deep-rooted trauma and my body's reacting to it. And so, because when you don't know and when you haven't done the work on yourself to heal and to, unsuppress all these these memories and moments and feelings and traumas, you know, they kind of just start coming up. And you know, I'm glad that I know how to pay attention to that. But like I said, it's a thing that people go, oh, like, oh, they're having a bad day, they're gonna go kill themselves, or oh, they're having a bad day, they're unhealthy, oh, they're having a bad day, they're still suffering from mental health. And it's like, well, everyone suffers from fucking mental health, everybody. But I just think that people don't have the education to know that mental health doesn't just mean schizophrenia. Mental health doesn't just mean depression. Mental health doesn't just mean bipolar. Mental health doesn't just mean like NPD. You know what I'm saying? Like, mental health is so vast, it's not even funny. Like, mental health is like anxiety. Mental health is like ADHD. Mental health is trauma. Like, mental health is, you know, having unhealthy coping skills for life. Mental health is when you live your life and take risks that are, you know what I'm saying? A healthy person isn't going to willingly or automatically indulge in actions or behaviors that are going to hurt themselves, right? But in survival mode and fight or flight and having mental health, you most definitely will partake in unhealthy, risky behaviors that inevitably will hurt you or hurt somebody else. You know what I'm saying? And it's just a lack of education, because even I didn't understand myself. Even I didn't understand exactly like what mental health exactly I suffer from. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, but it's gonna be a good weekend. You know, I get to see my baby this weekend. So, and then obviously there's church on Sunday, and tomorrow I'm waking up early. I'm gonna go to breakfast. I'm gonna have my coffee. I'm gonna shower, and I am going to go, and I'm gonna probably job search a little bit. I'm gonna try to sign up for laundry. Hopefully no one signed up for tomorrow morning at 6. And there's going to be a workshop. There's going to be someone coming from HR who worked in HR who's now retired for the state. And so they're going to come do a workshop to help us apply for state jobs. So I've done a state job workshop before when I was in the welfare to work program. So at the SACWorks office, that was pretty cool. But I figured, you know what, I might as well. You know, I'm still on this job search thing. And so, and even though I got that job offer, you know, there's a couple barriers on my record that unfortunately, you know, there's a certain amount of years that some jobs go back when you're going to be working with a vulnerable group of people, whether it's children or people with disabilities or special needs, or, you know what I'm saying, when you're working with a vulnerable community. And so, and it's not like my record could be worse, and actually it's not super bad. It's just there hasn't been enough time in between the situations for some parts of the job. So that's okay, and I got to talk about those things too, because, you know, and I share this in my community too, because, you know, it sucks. It sucks that I've been offered 2 really good jobs, and I really killed those interviews, and those people really wanted me and had great feedback for me. But all I know is that God has a different plan for me, and I just have to keep trusting, and I have to keep praying, and I have to keep talking about it. Because if I isolate and start like getting anxious and depressed about it, I'm gonna be no good to myself, and I'm gonna let the devil win. And that's not what we're doing today. Today, you know, I'm a child of God. I'm a beautiful person. I'm an intelligent person. I'm a good person. And I am putting my life back together, and I am a positive person in my community. I'm somebody that other people look up to. You know, I try to empower others and I try to bring hope to others by being honest and open. And I most definitely do my best to make sure that my walk matches my talk. And I stay consistent and I'm reliable and resilient. And there might be some other women that might face barriers and it might make them scared. And so I have to share that. So I hope that everyone had a great week. I hope that everyone has a great weekend. Be safe and be kind.